so far, and also advocating on global youth platforms like Climate Justice Youth Ambassador, like Planetary Alliance, like the UNDP, UNEP Titaners. So all of these are these steps that are taken in the climate journey as a young person to be able to protect their environment, be able to advocate for their environment. These are just part of it, not really all of it, to make sure that I as a young person, I'm actually like giving my lead to the environment to make sure that we are protecting the environment. We're advocating for the right thing, and we are creating solutions that are making sure that uh, uh, our home, of course, parents, our home is not completely polluted, because it's going to be it's not even going to be, it's already about our it's our concern, it's our issue, it's our problem to protect our environment. So those are like the things that I've been able to do as a young person to protect and advocate for our environment. Please, the next slide, please. Next slide, technical team. Are we still together, guys? I hope we're still on the same momentum.
Yes, we're together, sir.
All right, please, the next slide so we can move on. Excuse me. Okay. So these are like the things that we can actually like. These are like I just shared my climate journey with you guys, and how young people can actually be part of the whole discussion, as we already understand the reality. It's another thing to understand the reality, and it's another thing to say that, okay, I actually want to do something as a young person for climate action. So this leads to this slide talked about the role of youth in climate action. Yeah, it is stated that African youth, um, or let me say 60% of our population are under 25 years. What does that mean? So it means that at, by 2050, we are going to be the should I say the most populated, or the ones that are actually leading the world. In the sense that our population is less than 25 years. So we are going to be like, we're going to be the uncle at that time. We're going to be the aunties. We're going to be the one in those positions to take action to probably be like the Secretary General of the UN, of UNEP, UNDP, or whatever. So at that time, we are going to be those ones in those positions. That is why we as young Africa, as African youths, as young persons or young people from Africa, we need to take action, know our role. That is, it is first important for us to be at that forefront as young persons from Africa. Then also, young people actually the first responders to in the community. If you want to talk about, of course, I'm not sure everybody on this call is like Gen Z, but the Gen Z, like first person to just come and talk about something, go online, talk about it, talk about the pressing issues. So we are like the first meeting point, the first set of people that actually like respond to those things in our community. So we are now seeing that our role as young people, as youth, as young persons, as young people in the community, it's not little, it's not small. It's actually very important. It is a very serious role. It is a very serious position that we hold in the community. And we, as young people, as youth, we need to mobilize faster. We need to innovate boldly. We need to educate our peers. We are very smart people, yeah. We need to actually like build capacity, know what we're talking about, know those realities, know solutions to create to it, and mobilize people, influence people. We can actually influence a lot of people. Yes, we have the power, we have the whole drive, we have the voice to mobilize people faster. And to also innovate. We have intelligent, interesting, smart people that can innovate solutions that's going to help to mitigate this pressing issue. I mean, in the climate space and the environmental space. And also, we can actually educate our peers. It's very simple for us. After getting this up now, this matter, that one, that one, that one. Before you know, we talk about it, we share the whole stuff. we have a powerful tool, um, which is social media. We can easily send a message and it reach more than 100,000 people in like 2 days or 3 days. So those are like our voice as young people. Then talking about, of course, I said I was going to talk about the most of the case study is going to be what I have done personally. So I was able to join Climate Clock Nigeria. That is it's a special day where we show the urgency of climate action, how it is very urgent for us to take climate action. So we go around with our placards, with the time clock, with the our voice campaigning, talking about how it is important to take urgent action for climate change, how it's important to take actions to combat these problems that we are facing, the reality of climate change. Talking about keeping your promise campaign. Keeping your promise campaign is a campaign where we are holding the global north, that is the developed countries, what those the polluters, holding them accountable for what they are doing and asking them to send access to finance for reparations, loss and damage. I don't want to go to too much terms on things around the global north and the global south, but basically asking them to pay for what they have done because they have done damage to our environment. For instance, the Ogoni land is a mess from the extraction of oil and gas, and they have to pay for those people. They have to pay those community people. They have to clean up the mess. So that is what the keep your promises campaign is all about. Talking about the Green Faith Bike campaign. That's integrating our faith to the environmental space. So we can see that there are like lot of concepts that we can bring into the space as young people to actually advocate for the space, to advocate for climate change, advocate for environmental justice, climate justice, basically to make our environment safe and make it better. Please, the next slide. So as young people, we have a lot of things to do. We need to first understand our role, and I just mentioned that to us. And those action areas for youth, for young people, is first is education. It is very, very important. You cannot create a solution without educating the people, without first putting education first. The bedrock of sustainability is climate and environmental education. That's the bedrock. We need to first let people understand. They need to understand, okay, they need to understand that there's a problem somewhere and there's a need for us to solve that problem. And there's a need for us to talk about the problem. There's a need for us to create solutions about the problem. That is where education comes in. And how can we do this? Is through community awareness, through school programs. I'm sure that we see some of us going to schools to educate those young ones, to talk about the environment to them, even to educate even the elder ones so as well, because you don't want to focus on the younger ones. They don't talk about the elder ones, educate them, and publish books like echo books, story books that are interesting for children, for young people, post online, memes of all those stuff, storytelling. Storytelling very, very important. We use our content online. We can have skits on the environmental space, talk about using skits for climate action, um, using different things just to capture people's attention, be able to educate them. These are like areas where the young people, where youth actually need to focus on. Talk about innovation. I'm sure we have tech people on this call. We can create solutions that can help to solve this problem. We can do a lot of stuff. We can create apps. Uh, um, we can go into robotics. Of course, this even our most, I think, the most popular or so let me use the word popular tech thing that we all know now is AI. So we can move to AI and do something with AI. It doesn't have to just be ChatGPT. How am I doing today? How can I respond to this guy that is asking me? No, it goes more than that. Yeah. So we can innovate. We can create solutions to actually solve this problem. For instance, I and my team use drone and AI model to map and to create database for plastic pollution. So we do that. We can actually have eco products too as well from recyclables. We have people that actually create using um using banana fiber to make sanitary pad, and it's sustainable. So these are like things to reduce the pressure on waste on plastic. So those are like innovations that we can actually do to get to just make sure that we're protecting our environment, and we can advocate. It's very, very important. We need to organize dialogues where we sit, we come together. Okay, what can we do? How can we actually put the pressure on those policy makers? How can we put pressure on government? How can we put pressure on people that are polluting? How can we just advocate? What stunts can we put to make sure that people are actually like giving us what we want? It's something that we can do. It's these are things that are working. When we come together and say as young people we can do it. Then we can also be part of policy workshops. Okay, now we can actually there's little we can do with project, but when policies are in place, when the right policies are in place, we don't even need to do more on projects. For instance, now where they have policies in our shopping malls in Lagos now, that if you go there and you want to buy stuff, is that you are buying the plastic bag, or you're bringing your own plastic bag. Those are policies on trying to solve single-use plastics in the community, and that actually reduce the load of plastic waste in our community. Imagine the amount of plastic bags that Shoprite alone give one person per day. And when you want to go there, even if you are buying this the tiniest candy, they give you that big yellow plastic bag for one candy. And imagine people that go there every day to buy stuff, and they can give you five just as if it's food. So they now have like policies that are stopping those things. Even you have to be the one to even say you don't want, because they want them to charge you 15 naira on that plastic bag. Those are policies that will go where that will go far. Policy go far to make all those things, to make our solutions thrive in the community. When government say do not do this, automatically people just okay, they just say, I can't do it because government is powerful. So we excuse me. So we need to be part of those policy discussion, having workshops, understand how policy development is, understand how policy change strategies works, understand how we can have power mapping, knowing the right stakeholders, and knowing the right way to advocate. Talking about youth summit, it's very, very important. When we come together as young people, we need to come together, network, collaborate, um, learn in these summits, in conferences, and the rest of it. Then also, we have to sustain. We have to sustain. That is talking about creating jobs in the space, creating jobs. We are creating green. There are a lot of green jobs that we have in the space. A lot of green jobs that we can create. Okay, this is what we want to do to make sure that we're good, are sustainable. We're creating this job to do this, to do that. So it goes a long way. So they're like areas. I'm mentioning areas where young people can actually take action. First one is educate, second one is innovate, third one is advocate, and fourth one is sustain. So I'm sure that part of all these four areas that I mentioned, we can pick one of it and just do something around it. You don't have to own an NGO or a charity foundation or a social enterprise before you do something. You can do your little, especially when it comes to the advocating. Now we move to access to finance, the missing link. For every idea that you have, you need fund to push it out, to translate it to reality. That is where some grassroots climate projects are often unfunded. They just a lot of projects, a lot of ideas, but it's not funded. So we need to first know the missing link, that there's funding problem and the need for grant writing, because they have all these opportunities, but we have less people that actually understand how to access it through grant writing, budgeting, and proposal development, and also having local cooperative and saving group that can help to unlock small scale funding. I mean, for instance, there are people that are creating solutions on um, cooling system where they use solar for like farmers to cool their vegetables instead of it spoiling and having long shelf life. So they have a saving group where they come together, save money per a particular time, and able to buy that. So it will help them to solve food insecurity. Those are like innovative ways to solve this, and also participating in Adaptation Finance Forum. They have all of this when it comes to going to their COP, to the NDCs, to those global discussion. They have Adaptation Finance Forum where we can participate in and out and gain visibility. Please, the next slide. The next slide, please. So yes, the essential skills for youth climate leaders, because all of us on this course, we automatically we are youth, young climate leaders, youth climate leaders. So we need to first have grant writing skill to secure resources. Whatever idea you have, you need funds to push that idea to reality, to become a solution. So first, we need to get grant writing skill to secure resources. And also we need monitoring and evaluation skill to measure your impact. It's very important. You can still be just implementing project, but they're not really actually getting that right impact. They're not actually making impact because they're not able to monitor and okay, can this solution actually solve this problem? There's a different thing between just going to a community and creating solution there. Does it actually solve a particular problem in that community? Does it create change? For instance, I heard about a story where they went to a community and they drew borehole, and before you knew it, in like a week or two, they blocked the borehole. Why? Because the village men like find their way to the river and wait for the women to talk to them. They cannot go and talk to them in the community. So they wait for them around the river to talk to them and have nice time and just talk. So that's like blocking a solution for them to have access to water. Yeah, but it's blocking their way of communicating with their significant order or whatever. So they just shut down the ball. That is where the place of monitoring and evaluation comes in to now know that okay, oh, this is what is happening with this project. How can we really make sure that okay, we still help these people to still consider what they do and still have that solution in place. So we need to understand the place of monitoring and evaluation to measure impact, and also understand evidence-based advocacy to influence policy. I mentioned policy earlier. We cannot have policy without evidence-based advocacy. That is, we're not just going there to go and shout. No, we are going there to back up everything with data, with information that okay, in social community, they are suffering from this amount of this person is particular people are killed with this number, this and that with specific numbers and measure and metrics that they will see okay, this we are talking with a place of from a place of knowledge to really influence policy. And also partnership, of course. You can actually do your little as one person. But when it comes to making a long term impact, you need people to come together to partner. So we need to understand the place of partnership development to scale projects sustainably. So essential skill: grant writing, monitoring and evaluation, evidence-based advocacy, and partnership development. Please, the next slide. I'm moving very fast now because we don't really have time. Next slide, please. I think I'm almost done. Yes, of course. For every of those things, we are very energetic, enthusiastic, passionate. All those words we use on LinkedIn. I'm passionate, enthusiastic, energetic, this and that. All the old tick. But trust me, there are always challenges to that we are going to encounter. But how do we actually overcome those challenges? How do we overcome it? We need to first understand that, okay, first, the challenges, and we must actually overcome that challenge to be able to be change makers in our community. So, first one is limited funding and political inclusions. This is a very serious problem. Trust me, everybody is creating solution. A solution-oriented person must have experienced this in one way or the other. Lack of funds and political inclusion. I'm not going to go. So I'm not going to talk too much on these challenges. Then also knowledge gap in financial literacy and project design. This is a very serious matter too. Some people get access to like grant, let's say $1,000, and instead of doing something that's going to like impactful, you just see them go and print like 500 shirts. And that's 5,000 naira for that shirt, 500. You spent almost half of the money on shirt. Then you now start using the remaining half to now do the project. Come on, that's not financial literacy. Like, that's not the way to actually like design a project. No, the more attention should be on the sustainability of that project, should be on actually making impact on that project. At the same time, still making sure that everybody working in that project is happy. Everybody, like, the community is happy, the NGO, I mean the whatever initiative is happy, and they are actually getting your own stuff. So it's very, very important for us to know that the challenge in financial literacy and the project design. So that is a challenge too as well. Burnout and lack of support network. This is a very serious matter. Trust me, because there's a particular time you would feel like, from being passionate, you feel like you're an hero and you're Superman. You can do everything. I want to do this. I want to do. I want to do. I want to do. I want to do marine conservation. I want to do plastic pollution. I want to do gender equality. I want to do quality education. I want to do zero poverty, no poverty. I want to do zero hunger. I want to do. You get burnt out. Like, you will be tired. And if you don't have a community that actually supports you in doing in whatever you're doing, you get tired and you get burned out. You just give up and you just focus on doing whatever you want to do. So that's a very big challenge too as well. We need to make sure that our focus is right. Then navigating complex policy environments. This is a very complex problem too as well. So um sometimes when we get to those circle, those round table, to actually like contribute, to actually like know how things are going, and people that have so much bureaucracy in their office and that, we need to first come in a place of knowledge to understand it, to be able to like, okay, how can we do this, how can we do that? So that takes time to be able to like navigate those complex policy environments. So those are like challenges that young people actually face, and they must overcome to be able to create solution in the environmental and climate space. Please, next slide. So yes, building a youth-led climate future, a community solution that is being led by young people to have a climate positive future. As young people, how can we actually build those communities? Engage with platforms. It's very, very important. The power of community is so important. It's so important. You cannot even doubt it. So you need to, if you're solo, you're doing your work one man mopo, please engage with community. You can go well as one person. But if you can go far as a community, so you have to come as a community. Some opportunities they share with you in the community, you get to access it. They review your work, your proposal together. You share ideas, you collaborate, you innovate. So the power of community is very, very important. I mentioned some communities here. The Climate Reality Leadership Corp is a beautiful fellowship, beautiful community that you can join. The Global Changemakers community too as well. You can join that too. They give support to global change makers across the world to implement their projects. The Pan African Climate Justice Alliance, they organize summer schools, fellowship, campaign, and support to people that are actually doing things around the climate justice space, climate action space, climate literacy, and the rest of it. So engage with platform and community is very, very important. And also share your story, very, very important. You have social media. It's not something difficult. Just go on your Instagram, Twitter, X, LinkedIn, wherever. Share your story, talk about it. You don't have to make it so difficult and complex. You can just we have the different tools now that brings out all your ideas, as if it's from your head. Just, okay, I want to talk about a story from this and that. Can I post on Instagram? Boom, within seconds is out. Edit whatever you want to edit and post. Don't overthink it. No, no, no. Just post it and just share your story. Make it authentic, make it genuine, make it actually fit that idea that you want to do. Then mobilize your community. Don't be too shy or feel like you're too small or you're too little to begin to mobilize your community. It does not have to be 50, 100, 150. 10 is a number. 5 is the number. That is mobility. That's the power of community. Start from there. Then okay, let's come together today to organize a cleanup. Let's come together today to talk about climate this. Let's come together today to create a campaign online. We're going to run for like 7 days. Those simple little steps that we can take ultimately to just protect our environment are actually very important too. Then push for systemic change. Make sure that whatever you're doing, you're pushing for systemic change. Then also collaborate regionally. It is good to work with your Nigerian people, but it is powerful to work with people outside. I mean, Africa, worldwide, the globe. You learn different scope from them. You learn different things. How they are doing stuff in their country is different from how you are doing stuff. It's going to give you that exposure that's going to lead you to having that shift in mindset. It's very, very important. Collaborate regionally, act locally, and think globally. That's like the most powerful way of building a youth-led climate future. Please, the next slide. I think it should be the last slide. The next slide, please. Okay, yeah, my final thought is you don't have to be an expert to act. You need to care and start. Youth hold the power to shift the future. Act now, lead with art. Hey, lead with your art. Build resilient communities from the ground up. So, guys, thank you so much for listening to my old talk, my old discussion. I don't think it was a discussion because you're not responding. My old talk from the beginning to now. Please, let's act now. You don't have to be an expert to act. You just need to care and start. So young people, we have the power to create the change, and the power is yours. Thank you so much for listening. The last slide should be thank you, I think. So yeah, I'm done. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much, Solomon. Please, a round of applause for Solomon. Thank you so much. This was beyond what I thought it to be. Thank you so much. Like, it also opened our eyes to better opportunities and how we can contribute in our own space and what we can do, the skills we can learn. Thank you. This is truly beautiful, sincerely. Aside the flattery, like, I genuinely learned things like this. The from Our actions areas for youth can come in through education, the innovation you talked about, advocacy, and green job creation. Like, I won't deep too deep about this. I think I'll just take this and using my own idea on how to better the environment using this ideas you listed, Solomon. Thank you. Please, we're taking questions now, just relevant questions, very few questions too, because of our time. So please, does anybody have questions in line with today's topic? Does anybody have questions? Really appreciate if you can signify unmute yourself so you can talk. Nobody. I might have to call somebody out. Sincerely, come on. It should be somebody at least. Okay, I have to just call one person, and the person in my mind right now is let me see. Okay, Zipporah from the Sages has a question. How can young people in Nigeria balance survival and sustainability, especially when eco-friendly options are often more expensive or harder to access? Okay, we have one question. Thank you for that. Solomon, please, if you want to call, kindly answer this. Thank you.
All right. Thank you for that. That's a very interesting question. How can young people in Nigeria balance survival with sustainability, especially when eco-friendly options are often more expensive? Okay, I think first off, why the eco-friendly options or alternative are actually expensive is because We don't have more people creating the alternative. So when things are readily available, they're not so expensive. For instance, I think then when SIM card just came out and they don't have more people actually producing the whole SIM card thing, it was expensive. I think one SIM card was like 40K or 35K. But when it became something very stable that people are now creating, they have more companies that are creating cheap. It became cheaper. Like so, I feel like excuse me. I feel like the place of um innovating and creating more and people embracing those eco-friendly options would make it cheaper. Compared to some years ago, eco-friendly options in Nigeria was just they are little, they're almost not there. But now we have things that we can use as eco-friendly options to almost everything, and they're now becoming a little bit cheap. So, and the place of survival is for let me give you an instance for a community where they obviously cannot get resources to cook. I mean, eat sauce like fuel to cook, and their best bet is to go to the forest and cut down a tree to cook. That is survival over sustainability. So that one is understandable that these guys literally have to go to the forest to pick some firewood to cook because they don't have option. But the part where they are, you can actually do without these things. Talking about industries in Nigeria, they can do without these things, but they don't want. They are not. They're not doing without because of the profit. So instead of you to shift to the sustainable part, you're now still using the normal conventional one because you think it's cheaper. Talking about production now, so as a piece of survival and sustainability. But back to the eco-friendly option. When we innovate more, when we create more of those options, they become cheaper. So it comes to the part where we getting access to resources to build more, to create more of those options for them to be readily available at every corner, then it becomes cheaper. I don't know if I answered the question like that. Zipporah.
Yeah, Zipporah, was that response good enough? Okay.
All right. I think there's another question. It says, how can we diversify the demography of individuals engaged in climate action to ensure a more inclusive representation beyond just young people who are currently. If I get your question correctly, so how can we diversify demography of individuals engaged in the climate action to ensure a more inclusive? Okay, yeah, talking about not just young people and making sure that we have young people and the adults. I mean, and not adults and the elderly ones. Okay, yes. To dominate the space. Trust me, we don't really have we just used to say the word young people dominating the space, young people dominating space, but deep down, deep down, they're not actually young people dominating the space. We're just more on the advocacy part. But the main work, the main policy, the main things that has to do with like the serious work of the environment are not being done by the young people. I mean, when it comes to the policies and those big things, they're actually done by the elderly ones, the older generation. So when you go to when you even go to forums where young people are being called, you see that people that are making all those decisions are the elderly ones, are the old generations. So what we actually have to do is for the young people to actually press to be the ones making those decisions or being part, like major, not just be for the picture, being part of those decisions. That is where we can have a diversified demography involved in those places. So to us, to people outside the old space, they feel like the young people are the one making those decisions and doing all those stuff. Not really, trust me. We're just there. We're just not. I'm not. Let me not say the others. They were there. Our voice is just very loud because we are using those platforms to advocate. But the main decision, we are actually not taking the main decision. Trust me, I'll be very honest with you. So we need to, for a very inclusive and demography of this stuff, we as young people that our voice are still very loud, we need to still be more, to actually be in those major parts of the decision making and the implementation part of it, not just the advocacy part and the whole campaign part. I don't know if I answer your question, Taiwo. Does that answer your question, please? All right, thank you very much. Please, I would
Okay,
like to run now.
okay.
Thank you,
Solomon, thank
guys.
you for this session. And Zipporah and Taiwo, thank you so much for the questions you guys asked. I think we will have to reserve two green bottles for you in the future. Okay, I think we're rounding up this session, and we'll have to get back for our GNQ. Anybody that gets the meaning of GNQ gets three bottles, three green bottles. Yeah. So please, now we're heading back to our group, the homecoming group, main group, and want to round it up there. Then you immediately get uh oh, let's see what happens. Let's go there. Let's go there now, please. So before I say anything that let me know to unveil this. Please, let's get there now. Thank you all for joining this. Thank you so much. Thank you, Solomon. Thank you for all the participants. Thank you for to this Ramat. Thank you for your help, your assistance. Truly appreciated. Thank you. We'll be leaving here right now.